Hey YouTube, how's it going? Got a little surprise live video for you. I'm just going to do a quick video on how to clean your guns out. I didn't plan this. I just happened to have a little bit of time. Thought I would show you. I just finished this one. I run the Iwata Eclipse. So anything I show you on these videos is going to be through or using the Iwata. When I'm done with them, I like to keep a little bit of water in them. I don't know if you can see that in there. Just keeps everything from getting all dry and nasty on me. But that one's done. This is the one I have left to do. I'll show you the way I do it. Okay. I use acrylic paint. I use Crazything with the reducer. I've actually got, this is the Crazything black that I have in this gun currently that I'm getting ready to clean up for you guys. I'll try to keep this one fairly simple and quick, so it'll be a good reference guide for you. I like to have a rag close by. I usually have a couple. This is for my white and my lighter colors, my darker colors. It doesn't really matter. It's just the way I do it. Once it starts to get too bad and like stiff and full of paint, I'll get rid of it and get another one. Take the cap off. Cap is usually pretty dirty, and I will clean the cap first. All I'm going to do is wipe it clean. There is a small vent hole in the cap. With that small vent hole, you want to make sure you can see through it. And I can see through this one just fine. Don't know how well you can pick that up on camera, but you can see the hole right in the center. I'm going to wipe it out real good. Get it nice and shiny, and I'll show you why I don't just set it to the side and I'll make sure it's cleaned out. It's because I set it down. I will set it down right there, and I will put parts in it and fill that full of water or cleaner if I need to. But I also have rags underneath me here that I will take my paint. This is pretty full, about half full of paint. And unfortunately, I have to waste it because I don't want this to set up in my gun. I'm done for the day. So I don't want this to set up. I'm going to put this up, and I may actually be not sure if I'm going to airbrush tomorrow or not. I've got a lot to do outside of the shop. So it may be a couple days before I get to this, and I would never want to let paint sit in it. So I pour the extra out. Okay, what will actually pour out is poured out now. So now it's just covered in paint, but there's not anything really in it. Now I could take the rag and just start wiping it. But what I like to do is actually pour about a third of a cup of water. And then I get my little brush and kind of stir it up and kind of go and get everything out the walls and down at the bottom. And then I will pour that out. And that helps get a lot more of the bulk paint out for you. So now I will wipe it out with the rag. And guys, I'm not used to using the laptop very much, so you'll probably see me staring all over the place instead of at the camera. I'm no expert YouTuber by any means. I just want to make some videos to show off my work and to help you guys out if I can do that too. A lot of people keep asking me to make these videos, so I want to make them. I don't know why, but I chose to make this one a live video. I guess just to show you guys there's no fancy editing or anything like that. Okay. So what I've done here is I wiped it out. And if you could see it, like the cup itself is pretty clean, but down in there is still pretty dirty. I'm going to put some water and spray that out. Make sure you have a good ventilated area to do this. I've got a wide open garage, so there's no problems here. But if you're inside your house, they actually make containers that you can hook up and spray into for indoor, like in your house and stuff. I have seen them. I've just never used them. Now, technically, I could do this probably 4 or 5 times, and on a good day, you know, I may back flush it like this, and on a good day, I could call that done. And you could get away with that. You could just kind of back flush it a little bit and rinse it out and be done. If you're going to use it the next day, I do that quite often, especially if I've recently done a full clean. But right now it's empty, and it even looks like it's clean. It looks like there's nothing in it, but that's not necessarily true. Okay, so if you've ever seen my videos, you know that I don't airbrush with my nozzle cap on. It is recommended so that you don't tear up your needle that is on the very end of that bad boy. But that part is already off. Now I'm going to remove the back. Sometimes I'll even airbrush with this not on there just for weight. This stays clean. I don't know that I have ever, in the 8 years I've been airbrushing, if I've ever cleaned one of these out. I've never had a reason to. I've never had some kind of accident where that would get paint in it. But now, here's the tricky part. Well, it's not tricky. It's just something you probably need to be the most careful with. And that's pulling this needle out. You're going to make sure that when you pull it out nice and straight. You don't lift one way or the other or side to side. You will end up bending it. Now, this has a chuck right here. Okay? Try to do this a little closer than I have in previous videos. We'll loosen that chuck up. You can take it all the way off if you want to. If you want, we can do that. The needle is going to come out now that it's loose, okay? Now, can you see that dirty needle? Even after spraying it out several times with water, see that dirty needle? That's inside my gun. That's getting dried up and nasty. Well, I don't want that. So, now you can take a rag. A lot of times I'll wet my finger. Just wipe it off with my finger very carefully. If you could do that, if you're not comfortable with that, then use your rag. And just get all the paint off of it. Go ahead and do that now before you move on to anything else. Don't set it down and forget about it. Then you've got dried paint all over your needle. It wouldn't hurt if you want. Put a couple drops in the cup while you're doing this. Put this on your holder if you want to. Set it down while you get everything good and clean. One thing at a time. Don't have to rush. Okay. And just be careful. Guys, it's sharp. It is very pointy and sharp. It's not something to play with. Okay. Now, I have no needle in it. Okay. So, now I want to go further into the gun. I'm going to take the whole front off. I keep everything finger tight. I don't use any tools on these. I never have. There's no sense in it. If you don't tighten this with a wrench or with pliers or anything, then you shouldn't have to untighten it with one either. Okay. So now I've got these set in my lid here, and I'm going to cover them with water. So they are sitting in there getting all nice and happy, right? Now, I advise you to get you a set of these. These are awesome. If you don't have any, you might need to pick some up. These are specifically for airbrushes. They're like little pipe cleaners. They have different sizes. You can tell I use them quite often. Uh, you've got the bottom hole here. Your very bottom hole, that's where your air comes out. Okay. The bigger hole in the center, that's where your material comes out. Okay. You shouldn't have to clean your air hole. But this, on the other hand, find a brush that you don't have to force in there. Okay. Find a size that works nice and smooth. Look at that. Can you see this? Look at the nastiness that come off of that. See that big chunk of paint? Yeah. Glad I got that out of there. That would cause me a lot of problems. You're going to go to airbrushing and working on something, and all of a sudden your airbrush isn't going to start working properly. I guess they decided to check the tornado warnings and sirens and stuff when I decided to go live on a video. That's okay. Not worried about the background music. Okay, so we've got this clean. That dude's clean inside and out. I don't know how much you can pick up on that, but basically from here over is good and clean. I'm going to take one of the smallest ones and I'm going to run it through the center. Okay. Sorry about that. The air compressor is loud. I'm going to put my finger over this hole. Okay. So that I can pour some water in here. And now that that needle's not in there, I can kind of go back and forth. And that'll help rinse out this area, which is what I was using the smaller brush for, is to clean out this little area in here. This is clean, guys. There's nothing from here back to clean currently. As long as your packing and everything is working properly right here and it's sealed correctly, paint won't run back in here. If you want to take this apart, I have made videos on that, or ask me, and maybe I'll make some more. But right now, I want to take pieces that have been soaking and then clean them. Okay, so you want to make sure the inside is clean. Give it a good visual inspection. If you see anything at all, make sure to get it out of there. Use the brushes of the size that'll fit. Don't force anything at all. Okay. Now here's what I like to call the heart of the airbrush. This little dude. Air will flow over it, pulling the paint out. And you want the inside of this to be clean. I like to start with a fairly larger brush and then work my way down. And then I'm going to check my brushes after I do that. If they're real dirty or if there's a lot of color or paint coming off, then I know it's pretty nasty in there, right? So what else I do with this before calling it done is I keep a spare needle. If you notice, I mark everything. This has got a piece of tape on it, so I'm never going to pick that up and try to put it in a gun. My water is marked water. Yeah, complicated stuff, right? This is a cleaner. If you need to use a cleaner, they make Airbrush Cleaner. It's very mild, doesn't hurt anything. But I take the spare needle to check to see if there's anything nasty in here. Okay, because this will get all your little specks if there's any in there. I don't know if you can pick up on it, but there is a couple little bitty ones there. For the most part, it's pretty clean. I can see all the way through it. It's a good way to check as well. If you look, you can see all the way through it as well. I can see it on the camera. That tells me it's pretty darn clean. So now it's time to put it back together. There's your little nozzle end that it came out of. There you go. Now, make sure it's all the way down in there. And it just screws on back, right back onto the end of your airbrush. There is an O-ring between your airbrush gun and this, which is another reason why all you should have to do is tighten it by hand. Okay? I'm not going to get, there's no sense in that. If you do that once, you're going to have to do it again each and every time. That's not good. Okay. So, that is back on. Don't forget your little chuck so that we can get our needle going. Now, here's another part where you want to be real careful. Okay, needle's clean. It goes back in here the same way it came out, but it needs to go nice and straight. You don't want to be pushing this in there and getting a bind. Okay, so nice and straight in parallel with your airbrush. I like to take a finger, an extra finger, and help use it as a guide. I set it on the end here and then use it to help push through so that there's no give. Okay, try to do it with the camera though, like that, and it should go nice and smooth. I can actually feel it when it meets the packing right here, that it tightens up just a little bit, but that's it. That's all you should have to do. There's no pushing it too hard or anything. If there's something like that going on, then there's something in the way. Okay, so it's in there all the way. I could feel it bottom out. So I will tighten the chuck up like so. Okay, so it's ready to function now. It really is. I use them quite often like this right here. Don't spray yourself in the face. Yep, don't do it. But let's finish putting it back together. Okay, there's my little needle cap for the end to protect my needle. Okay, there's my end piece. Screws right onto the end. And I took my time. Didn't get in no hurry. You can do this, and this video is probably, 15 minutes long? Maybe 20. I can do it in half that time, no problem. Take the time to clean your stuff. The more you clean it, well, not the more, the better you clean it, the better it will operate. These things are amazing. Iwata Eclipse. They're awesome guns to have. These are the workhorse of the airbrush world. All right, if you want to know anything else, shoot me a message or ask me in the comments below. Hopefully this was helpful. I am going to finish cleaning up shop and go spend the rest of the evening with my family. Guys, keep your needle wet.